Lullaby for the Reign of Sweet Parasites, Chapter 6. 2 hours later, Esther returns. She pulls a bottle of water out of her apron. It appears unopened, fresh, and remarkably pure. Matilda tests the lid and feels the seal crack open under her grasp. She hands the bottle to Esther, who gratefully takes a sip. Then Matilda drinks. She holds the cool water in her mouth and swishes it around. Fantastic, filtered water. "It's blessed, by the way," Esther says. "I blessed it. It's radiant silver coursing through you, healing every muscle and joint. It should open you up." "Okay." That's just how Esther is. She is a shaman housekeeper, delivered from the floods of Katrina to heal the world one dust bunny at a time. Matilda knows better than to question it. In fact, as she drinks, she can sense it. She feels the liquid seeping into her dehydrated corpuscles, lubricating her and allowing her to breathe. A shiver sweeps through Matilda, and her whole body feels lighter. "Go ahead and wash up," Esther says. "But I can't use this water." "Honey, listen, there's going to be more water. Use this now to clean up. And here," she says, handing Matilda a hairbrush. "Get to work. I'll be back." "Esther, where are you going?" "Gotta check on the kitties," she calls back, and she's gone. Chapter 7. Matilda empties the rest of the water into the bathtub and washes herself with one of Esther's rags. It isn't long before the pool of clear water darkens, but she manages to wash clean. Her face, hands, hair, and labia, underneath her fingernails and in the spaces between toes, all breathing again, renewed. By now it is evening. Matilda stands naked in front of the window. She imagines a waxing crescent moon faintly through the toxic haze. There is no other light visible along the hillsides except for the open fires at Walmart Village. No one takes to the night anymore. Too much risk, too many thieves and feral dogs, and no light. Nowhere to stumble into out of the rain for a beer and maybe a round of karaoke. No chance to take in a show, go bowling, or eat an extravagant meal of local organic vegetables, free-range meat, and award-winning wine, followed by a delicate handmade dessert topped with succulent mountain berries. No light at all. No warmth. No food. And lately not even rain. Thousands are dead here, and countless more beyond. Communication is impossible. Matilda has no idea what's coming next, but there is no reason to think it will be good. Any hope at all would have to be based on realistic expectations, which she can't begin to measure. Hope strikes her painfully and vulnerable. Where was the protection in hope? If nothing could be assured, how can she let herself be carried off by dreams of a life once lived? Everything is a threat, no spring of innocence here. Matilda used to watch the children laughing on the beach, their hair clumping and falling into the sea foam, and others starving in the city, but always finding a ball or a stick and some rope to start a game. Was that hope? Or just survival? Or was it just living in the spirit of the day? More than once she found Carla sobbing in some corner of the townhouse, unable to reconcile her maternal need to keep her son healthy and safe, with her complete powerlessness against the tide of devastation that was battering them against the rocks. Still, Matilda would see Lucas sitting in the yard, stabbing at the last tufts of crabgrass with a stick, and think, he would be fine. He would be just fine. If only his parents would be here with him now and stop mourning the world he will never remember. He was the one dying, but he would be fine. It was all the sobbing in closed rooms, attempting to conceal the gravity of the future, that made him already dead. Matilda wonders if Lucas had hope and where it came from. Of course it came from a complete lack of expectations. Just to live another day. Just to be held by his loving parents and fed whatever toxic, inorganic, unholy food that might be left on the grocery store shelves. Just to be given a smile and another sunrise and the warmth of another loving day. What would Lucas want for me, Matilda thinks. Did he even consider me? She was a household fixture, expected, needed, and praised, but not known. The service she provided meant nothing to him. His toilet was always clean, his floor always safe to crawl around on. She would smile at him, but keep a respectful distance. Usually the family would make sure to be out on the Tuesdays that she worked, just to get out of the way and not have to listen to the vacuum cleaner, they'd say. But Matilda wondered, how uncomfortable was it to have a perfectly nice woman in their home who was not there to ogle the baby or have a cup of coffee and a chat? They loved her in their own way. They were sure they needed her, but they were also quite confident that she would never love them back. That was the Lucas who was being taught that people are transactions, that not all visitors are meant to smile and love you. Some are there to patch holes. Some are there to cover up stains, to take care of the ugly, unmentionable messes of their lives, so that they could be free to love and smile and express their talents in lucrative ways that would pay for the recovery of the human imperfections that leaked at all of their seams. How was that working for them? Matilda often wondered. Although on the surface they were the employers and they were the ones with the power, she saw how easily they gave it away to her. She saw the relief in their faces when she walked in the door. Thank God the housekeeper's here. Or sometimes the quiet disdain. I hope she does a decent job this time and doesn't steal anything like the last one. None of this meant anything to Lucas in his time. Perhaps it was cultural conditioning. They never spoke of class, and his parents would insist they were all equal, but Lucas would nevertheless be taught his class, just as he was taught to assume his white privilege, which was also never spoken. Later, he would have been told anecdotally that the housekeeper was responsible for keeping his parents together. Fred didn't like to part with the money, but Carla felt it was unfair how heavily the burden fell on her to keep up the house. Both of them believed it would have been a tremendous waste of Lucas's precious creativity for his parents to drive him hard to learn home maintenance. Seriously, 2,500 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a garage. They had the money. Let someone else take care of it. Just like the mechanic with the car, or the landscaper. It was Matilda's job, and they paid her well. She did her best to play the role as expected. How could she ever tell them that she did love the boy, but didn't love who she was to him? They would never understand how, although she didn't love their beautiful treasures as her own, she cared for them in ways that they had long ceased to. She picked them up, held them in her hands, and gently dusted, placing them just as they had been perfectly placed when Carla first brought them home long ago. How could she ever tell them that twice a month she lived in their world, and there was a psychic imprint dripping off those walls that she could never cleanse? It was often uncomfortable to her. Some homes were worse than others. Matilda didn't look inside their drawers. She made no effort to probe the depths of their closets, because their raw and unsatisfied souls were the noise she was trying to drown out with the radio, blaring, "I am not here inside you. I am only inside these 4 walls, holding a feather duster and doing a good job at a menial task for an exchange of money. I don't love you. I will never love your little boy." That's why Matilda never goes downstairs to meet the Wens. She doesn't need more people she won't love, and she doesn't need to love more people who will die. But then why does she go to Lucas's bedroom and drown herself in sorrow for his loss? Does she only mourn herself and the painful ways that she was known but never loved, and fantasize that if she had been given more comfort as a child, she might have somehow been called to greatness, to lead us beyond our inevitable doom? What would the loving spirit of Lucas the dead want for the living? What would he tell us about how to live through this? Hope, Matilda thinks, is a capitulation to yesterday's failures. There must be a better word for what she needs. Something like resolve. Perhaps. The silence of night descends upon the ruins of their shattered metropolis. Matilda imagines she sees the moon fade behind the gnarled and naked trees on the horizon. It's time to begin again, she thinks, but she has no idea what she means.